Groundwork and crawling patterns has been a game changer in the fitness industry, but it's been a staple practice in gymnastics and outdoor movement for a very long time. It's always important to warm up before you start. Rolling the wrists around, placing them on the floor backwards to stretch. Spread your fingers out nice and wide and place them on the floor. A wider base of support will be more steady. Try twisting your elbows in and out on both sides. Just allowing the shoulder blade, the shoulder, to move in its socket and over the top of your wrist there. Looking left and right, up and down. Let's let those shoulders sink down and raise up. Bit of cat-cow and arched back. Some elbow push-ups. And just moving your wrists around in different places and locations. The basic crawl position is a hand and knee crawl at its very basic level. This is the most sort of limited scale back option you have for the basic. If you start with your hands and knees together and your hands in line, then step forward with one hand and then join your other knee to the hand that's left behind. This is your cue to make sure that you are traveling in a contralateral pattern. When you walk, you want opposite hands and opposite legs to be moving at the same time. So the cue about having your knee join your hand sets you up nicely to know that you are traveling in a contralateral way. A contralateral pattern is one that's essential when this for stability. So when you start moving up onto your toes, which is a scale up, and start walking, in order not to topple over, you're going to want to be walking in a contralateral way. Equally, when you move this groundwork pattern onto a narrow branch, fallen branch, for example, or a fallen tree, or onto a rail, you're going to want to be contralateral when you walk. It'll keep you directly in line so that you don't fall off, or you're not likely to fall off. In the crawling lessons, I'll be mostly working with my knees off the floor in a crawling pattern like this. Or I'll be using the handles as a demonstration. So I want you to understand the scale down and scale up versions of this. Make sure that you, when you're using they're slightly turned out, so you'll prevent, or likely to prevent, a rollover. Most basic position is this: knees on the ground and lifting one arm and one leg, or just one leg or one arm, and feeling your body trying to balance itself when there's only 2 points of connection with the ground. You can try the same thing by lifting your knees off, one leg, one arm, and instantly you should start feeling your core engage. So hold your abdomen in and make sure you hang tight. Same thing without the handles. One arm, one leg, one arm, one foot. When you're doing the crawl patterns with me during the lesson, if being on your toes you're not ready for, then get on your knees. There's no harm in that, and that's a perfect scale down option. When we're practicing our basic crawl in a lesson, it's important that we place our hands and limbs down in such a way that sets us up for a contralateral pattern straight away. And one way to do that is that if you drop the knee and make sure that the first hand, same hand as knee, is next to each other, that you reach forward with your other arm, and then the very next step after you start your crawl pattern, you'll have set yourself up for a contralateral walk. So again, your first hand placement and knee will touch. Your second hand placement will be a reach, and your third hand placement will be when you start and you're off. Lastly, make sure you breathe. The first thing you need to pay attention to when you're doing your lesson in crawls is how you're breathing. Almost everybody holds their breath because their body is suddenly under tension. I need you to do more than that. I need you to breathe through your crawling activities and keep that rhythmical as much as possible. The one main transition that you need to get acquainted with and learn very well is your L-sit, single-legged get up, or a tripod transition. Put simply, this is our L-sit in gymnastics, 2 legs out in front, body upright, lean off to one side, bring one leg up, the opposite knee. Take your front foot and sweep it underneath your body along the floor to be in a basic position, basic crawl position. Then take that same foot and return it. Simple. One leg, one hand, sweep under, and you're ready to stand up or you're ready to crawl. We'll be doing lots of variations of this transition, so you need to get your head around it. In parkour, this setup, this kind of a shape, forms the basis of one of the first vaults that we will learn, called a safety vault. This particular pattern will have multiple applications across lots of different areas of work. So get your head around this one. You can be putting your foot under. You could be putting your foot together so everything is in one line. You could take your foot and extend it behind you. If you're using your handles, these are great for that. 2 hands to one side, or one hand, 2 hands, sweep and down. One hand, sweep and down. Other side, 2 hands to one side of your body, into stand. One hand, into side get up, like parallel or straight line. Just bring it underneath your body. Or extend your leg behind you for a variation. Is the side crawl. Here we take our parallettes, if you're using them, and place them so that your left hand is in front of your right foot. Then you take both feet and you place them so that they line up in front of that parallel again, and then take your parallettes and shuffle across. Now, I'm not too concerned if your bottom stays really high in the air while you do this one. That is totally fine. But I am interested in, over time, in you both staying nice and low and extending your capacity to get across the floor deeper and lower, so that you can be quite fluid in this pattern and quite stable. Of course, you can do it without the handles as well. Hands follow the same pattern. So left and right side crawls. Lastly, if you find that you have some deficits in your wrist strength and wrist flexibility, or shoulder strength and shoulder flexibility, then I refer you to the pre-wilding section, to wrists and also the shoulder program. Both of those programs can run concurrently to your practice of crawls, and you should find that your body develops in strength and capacity in the crawl work quite quickly when you add the workouts scaled at a way that you can handle, as well as your strength and conditioning program.